Well, this is an area of my property. This is the lowest area of my property. I think I got 8 culverts over my driveway runs across here, and on the other side is a neighbor's property, and they have a pond on the other side, just a ways back. And when it rains a lot, it overflows, of course, and it naturally comes down across my property and then across my neighbor's property also. So the property does this right here. So that tells me that the soil here is very fertile, because when it rains, this is the last place to dry up. Now, we haven't had a decent rain in a while. Well, we did, what was it, a few days ago, not quite a week. But it didn't last long enough, and not to really saturate the ground. But during the winter months, this here is always wet, soggy, wet. It looks like a swamp out here. So because it's always wet during the majority of the winter, we have mild winters here. Because it's always wet, you get a lot of bacteria growth in the soil here. So the soil here is very, very rich. And my soil here typically is red clay, but this area here I should have a decent amount of topsoil. I don't know how much, but a decent amount. So what I'm going to try and do is scrape the top here as much as I can and go down as, you know, a decent amount before I hit the clay, and use that for some of the soil that I need for my greenhouse beds. Now, as you've seen in the video, what I'm trying to do, my goal here is to do like a 4-part soil. So 1 part horse manure, 1 part just composted wood chips, 1 part mushroom compost, and 1 part the natural native soil that I have here. And this is the richest, nutrient dense part of my property is right here. Don't get a lot of growth here because of the shade of the trees, but nevertheless the soil is rich here. So again, I'm going to try and scrape off as much as I can and put it in with that pile that you saw me start to build by the greenhouse. Once I get a decent amount, I'm going to fluff it all up, mix it all up, and use that for the beds for the greenhouse. Well guys, it's not that red clay that I typically get here. It's much better, but it's very dry right now here, and plus I'm dealing with roots. I'm in between all these trees, and I'm dealing with all these roots. I could see them all on the ground here, but other than that, yeah, it's still clayish, but it's darker, and it needs to be mixed with the all that composted manure and mushroom compost and all that stuff. Alright guys, so that was a lot of mixing I did. 1 part mushroom compost, 1 part horse manure, 1 part composted wood chips, and my native soil, which was in that one area that I told you that is very wet in the winter time. So there's a lot of bacterial action going on there, and the soil is much darker there. So got that all mixed up. I've been doing a lot of research. I was going to do the traditional greenhouse beds using 2x10 or 2x12s, running the length of the greenhouse, okay? And I was going to do that route, and it's financially it was the cheapest route to go. But then I started thinking about that. I thought, you know, I don't know how long that wood's going to last. I mean, it's going to rot eventually. 5 years, 4 years, 6 years, I don't know. You know, that's a lot of soil to put in those beds, and then once they rot, I got to pull all that soil out of there, bust apart all that rotten wood, build new beds, and have to refill it again. But only then, it's not going to be open here. I'm going to have a little 36-inch door to haul dirt in and out with my cart. And I said, no, I'm not going to go that route. So I found these corrugated steel, they're galvanized corrugated steel, kind of ovalish beds, 7 feet long, 3 foot wide, so they're perfect, they're not too wide. They're 12 inches high, and I'm going to put a link in the description to where to get them. I can fit 10 on this side and 10 on the other side, the 7-foot part going this way, and I'll have approximately 2 feet in between each bed. I could put more in there, but we want more. We want some room on each end of the greenhouse to put maybe a table or something, you know. But anyways, that's the route we're going to go. Galvanized steel, corrugated galvanized steel. These are a kit. You got to put them together. So, oh, and also for those of you that are going to use wood, all the treated wood that's out today is treated with micronized copper. So it's not toxic. If you want to go that route, that's fine too. But eventually that stuff is going to rot. It'll last longer, but it's gonna rot eventually. So keep that in mind. So it's micronized copper. It's the same stuff that you would use as a fungicide in your garden, on your vegetables, your tomatoes and stuff, to keep the fungus off. So that, as far as that's concerned, they're safe. But I just didn't want to have to do this all over again in, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years from now. All right, guys, so let's put these beds together, and let's get them installed, put them in the greenhouse. All right, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build them here. I need a flat surface because I want them nice and flat, and then I'm going to carry them to the greenhouse there. That shouldn't be too heavy. But excuse the porch here. We're using it as a shed too. So this is the garden bed, or the for us, our greenhouse bed. Well, that's nice. It comes double boxed. Well, that's pretty. Ah, nice. They got a film on it to protect it. Basically just a film to protect the steel. Nice. And then you get the sides. You get 4 of these. What's nice too is the edges here. In case you're wondering, it's not sharp. They roll the edge over and, you know, crimp it or whatever. I did get some this trim material you can put on here so it doesn't mess up your forearms as you're gardening and doing stuff. But this isn't bad. Not bad at all. And you get all the nuts and bolts to put it together in this little baggie here. Let me get all this stuff off and then we'll start putting it together. Man, can you believe this? I had exactly the right amount of screws or bolts here. Nuts and bolts. I went and got more nuts and bolts anyways, because you know how that is when you order stuff. You're always missing nuts and bolts, right? These are, I think these are 6mm fine thread, but you can get quarter 20 bolts. Quarter 20 by about 3/4 inch long is basically what I found in this area. I got them at Home Depot actually. And just tighten them up. Maybe I'll tighten it a little more. Well, it's a lot more rigid than I thought. Okay, let's work our way around. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Sturdier than I thought it was going to be. Perfect. One down, 19 more to go. Alright guys, so what I've done so far is found the middle of my greenhouse. Greenhouse is 60 feet, I went 30 feet and put my tape measure right in the middle here, and I'm using that as a line. Then I got my bed and I put one on either side of the line here, 1 foot on either side of that line, so they're 2 feet apart, and they're 1 foot from the inside edge of the greenhouse. That leaves me here with just over 4 feet, 4 feet 3 inches I think it is. That's perfect for me to bring my cart in here. On the inside, what I did is on the inside edge here, all the way around, I put these 1 inch by 6 inch galvanized steel staples to hold down the weed fabric, okay? Then, next what I've done is I cut out the inside here, all the way around, and I left about 2 or 3 inches of that weed fabric all the way around. So my idea here is to I want the earthworms, once I fill these beds up, I want the earthworms to come up from underground and enjoy all that wonderful compost. Basically, all they'll start eating up all the compost that I put in there, the mushroom compost, the composted wood chips, horse manure, and all that stuff. They'll eat that stuff up and leave their wonderful little deposits of worm castings and fertilize the soil even more. I may also throw in some, maybe a handful of earthworms in each bed. I'll have to order some, and that should help it out quite a bit. Also, what we need to do next is fill these beds up. So my plan here is to get my tractor, take a scoop of the soil that I just mixed, bring it in here and dump it in here, fill these beds up. Once those are full, I'll put my next bed in here, same 2-foot spacing, same thing on the other side, and keep filling them up, cut out the inside, and just keep on going until we get them all filled up, because I surely don't want to do these by hand. All right, so let's get started. Alright guys, so the beds are completed. I just put a rubber trim around the edge of the beds. They're not absolutely necessary. I got them because when I ordered the beds, I didn't know if the edge of the bed here were sharp. But they have them rolled over and they are not sharp. You can't cut yourself on them. But I can't see resting my forearms on there for very long because it will, dig in. So that's why I got the rubber trim here, and that worked out really good. I just did one to see how it looked, and it looks good. I'm going to do the rest of them later. I'll put a link in the description where to get it. So filling these beds kicked my butt, man. Let me tell you. Hot. The sun was, blazing down, 95, 100 degrees, and I knew, I'm like, I gotta get this done. But after many gallons of water and a lot of hard work, the water for me, of course, not for the garden beds. After all that work, got it all filled in yesterday. And it looks like it's going to work pretty good. Again, these beds, these beds are 7 feet long, 3 feet wide, and I have them spaced apart 2 feet all the way down. Worked my way from the middle and worked my way out. The beds are 1 foot from the edge or the side of the greenhouse, and it leaves me here with 4 feet 3 inches approximately, something like that. Plenty of room to go in and out with my cart. I have 6 feet from this bed to the end of the greenhouse on both sides, and it looks like it's going to work out pretty good. I know some people, I've seen them build raised beds way up in the air. If you have back problems, I would suggest doing that. For me, I don't. It doesn't bother me to bend down or to kneel down, or even sit in a stool or something. While you're gardening, it's comfortable. But the closer you keep them to the ground during the winter time, it does dip down into the teens here occasionally at night. For nights like that, you want the beds to be close to the ground where the heat gets retained in the soil when it gets closer to the ground, because this takes longer to heat up, or I'm sorry, to cool down than the atmosphere, obviously. So the closer you have them to the ground, the more heat it's going to retain, and during those nights, the chance of freezing is probably not very good. If that happens, I'll cover the vegetables the best I can, and then the covering of the greenhouse itself, it should boost the temperature up a good 10, maybe more degrees than that, and keep them from freezing. Plus, you got to remember, they're all going to be cold, hardy vegetables, so they will take a frost or, slightly under freezing temperatures. They'll handle it with no problem. So I think this is going to work out pretty good. If you guys are interested in the beds, again, the link is in the description. If you guys are interested in the greenhouse, the link, everything's in the description. Everything that I'm doing here is in the description. All right, guys. Also, don't forget, if you order anything from Grower Solution, you have a 10% discount if you put my code. I'll put the code down at in the description also. 10% off on your greenhouse and everything in there except for their shade cloth, I'm pretty sure. All right, guys, so thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video.